Hey guys, it's Neil, and we're doing a new show here. It's called Bite Size Chats with Wrappli, and we've got two amazing guests with us. We've got Boris.
Hey guys.
Um, Boris, do you want to tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm the founder of a company called Buzzbox. We're basically an experimental and proven marketing platform that helps businesses create those experiences that actually matter to their staff and customers. But I'm here to talk about entrepreneurship and kind of what got me here and what I think is important. And yeah, happy to be here with these guys.
Thanks, Boris. We've got Suraj. And Suraj, you want to plug yourself in?
Yeah, I'm one of the co-founders of Wrappli, and we pay everyday Aussie drivers to advertise on their cars. So very similar to Uber, but we wrap everyday cars in advertisement and pay them as they drive. Their daily routes, picking up the kids from school, driving to work. You basically get paid for wrapping your car.
Awesome. And I'm Neil. I'm the host. I work with Suraj at Wrappli. And all right, let's get this conversation started. So I guess I'll just start with a question. My question to you guys is, what prevents you from getting burnt out every day? Because obviously, being a CEO, both of you are CEOs. It's a very demanding task. It takes 8, 10, 12, 14-hour days. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm curious to know what keeps you guys going. Despite of all the pitfalls and the troughs, and how do you stay consistent with your goals?
Yeah. You want me to kick it off? Or?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll kick it off. To me, it's all about self-awareness. Like what I mean by that is, if I was doing this and treating it like a 9-to-5 job, there'll be no way I'll be able to do this. Like no way in hell would I be able to do this. For me, it really is the fact that I kind of sat back and asked myself, what is it that I want to do with my life? And the answer was that I wanted to create something that was worth creating, and I wanted to do it with people that were worth being around. And like, whenever I come back to that, that's kind of what keeps me going. Because I've failed through like a couple startups already. It's not like I get that it sucks sometimes. Like I get that burnout happens. But whenever I have that 10-15 minute session in the morning and I ask myself like, what is it that I want? It's always the same answer. I want to create cool shit with cool people, and that just keeps me going. Like,
Yeah. I think we were talking about this the other day. I think if you have a really strong life goal or life purpose, and not necessarily you're going to figure it out when you're 18 or when you're 20, but for me, it's like being burnt out is only one aspect of trying to achieve that higher level purpose. So, we were having this conversation the other day. When you're aiming to achieve something, when you have a really burning desire to achieve something, like Think and Grow Rich, when you have a burning desire to achieve something, it just naturally keeps you going.
Yeah.
But you're right, like we do get burnt out. But the funny thing is when I feel burnt out, when I'm talking to Boris, I'm talking to another entrepreneur, knowing that they're burnt out. Yeah, but knowing that another person's burnt out really helps as well.
Man,
It's kind of going through the journey together.
I feel that on so many levels, man. Like to me, I always think like, what perspective am I coming from when I get into a conversation? Like, have you ever had like one of those days where you just like wake up and you're just having a shitty day?
Yeah.
Like, it's just crap. Like everything fucking sucks. And you speak to people and you say stupid shit, and 24 hours later you're like, fuck, why did I say that shit? And then like you make a decision to go to an event that you don't want to go to. Like you fuck up your entire week, and it's all because like your perspective on that given day is the wrong one.
Yeah.
That's how I treat burnout.
It's a state of mind.
It's a state of mind thing.
Yeah.
You're kind of thinking to yourself, why is it that I'm burnt out?
Yeah.
And it's probably a case that you're probably focusing on like the really minor things. You should be focusing on like the bigger things.
I think it builds up as well. I think you wake up in the morning, one bad email can literally have an effect on the next hour of your day, and then you have a really bad gym session, and then so the whole day, it's like one small little thing can have a massive impact.
Right.
So I think it's for me, and a lot of the self-help books or the Tony Robbins and stuff like that say that it's the mindset change. So within an instant, you can change your mindset. You might have a crappy email, but then move it aside and refresh your mind straight away. I think that has a big impact. Like you and I both know very well that we had a day. We have multiple different days. Like yesterday was a day where morning was a sales meeting, middle of the day was performance reviews, second half of that afternoon was talking about marketing, the last half of it was talking about patents and IP and technology. So it's like, where the hell is your mind going? So it's about getting that making sure that the first, you're able to mentally make those switches and changes as well, because that really helps, and being self-aware of that as well for me.
Yeah.
And that helps me not be burnt out.
And I honestly think it all comes down to self-awareness. I think these days we don't actually have the time to be self-aware. Like when's the last time you plugged off from all your electronics and just thought about what the hell is it that you want?
Yeah.
Like what you actually suck at. Yeah. Like we don't do that. Like our generation, we spend so much time comparing ourselves to other people.
Yeah.
That we forget to ask ourselves what the hell do you want?
Yeah.
Like not everyone needs like $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Some people, if I were to tell you like, hey man, do you want to make like $100K like fairly passively every year?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you never know whether or not you want that unless you go out there and try things and ask yourself like the right questions.
Yeah.
And I think burnout's kind of like a part of that. If you're kind of aiming for something that's beyond what you want,
Or not even what you think you really want. It's just a financial thing, right?
it's something that you don't actually want.
It's like when I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, he said, most people still aren't happy even with a pay rise.
Yeah.
Because, you're on a $70,000 income and you're going, oh great, I'm on $70,000 income. A year later, you're still on a $70,000 income. What do you think is going to be the fix? You've been burnt out, in sales, you're making 30 calls a day or 15 calls a day like we used to. You think, pay rise is going to fix that burnout. It's going to make me feel better about myself. But necessarily, that's not what it is. It's more at a higher level of achieving something greater than just, pay. For
Like,
example,
think of it this way: when I was in my last corporate job, I probably did about 4 to 6 meetings a week, and I kind of felt burnt out.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing like 12 to 20. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sometimes I have meetings with myself. I'm literally having a meeting by myself.
Yeah, that's a great segue into my next question. Meeting with yourself. So, do you follow any rituals, or say you mentioned, Boris, that you have 15 minutes aside a day every morning. What do you do in those 15 minutes?
For me, I've kind of picked up on the fact that I usually start my days pretty damn well if I'm active at the beginning. So usually I wake up around 4 a.m. I do my hours worth of gym, and at the end of that session I have a 15-minute period of time where I just sit down and like reflect on what it is that I want, and ask myself the questions of, what do you want? What's kind of stopping you from getting there right now? And then spending that last 5 minutes just being grateful.
Yeah.
Like I know that sounds so cheesy, and like we hear it from all these like content creators, like be grateful, like spend time being grateful. But what it does is that it switches your mind from like being negative and I guess result driven to being like more optimistic and positive about things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you wake up and the day sucks. Like it's like you said, you get that email and like the sale hasn't gone through.
Yeah.
Like something's happened. It's been pushed back next quarter. You need to make like 50K before your next investment round, or you're fucked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it helps with the perspective. To me, that 15 minutes is kind of like the primer. You're kind of spending that time getting yourself in that right headspace.
Yeah.
But I think it's super important that you ask the right questions. Because if you just sit there and just go, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah. I think as human beings, we're very habitual people. So we have everyone. Doesn't matter what job you do. You have so many different factors in your day, so many external things that could happen to you. That if you have certain habits in place, it kind of also resets you. Like in the morning, you go take a shower, you brush your teeth, you might do a 15-minute workout, you might do a 15-minute yoga session, and then if you have a crappy day, you know that next morning, oh great, I've got this habit that I've kept, it's going to reset you for the next day, and you won't have that same day rolling on.
Yeah.
So if you have bad news, like I just lost $50,000, it's not going to keep rolling on. It's going to be like, awesome, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do my yoga for the next morning, and it's going to start me. It's going to start me on again, It's going to, now I'm like, okay, that happened yesterday, what's the plan of action for the next day?
Yeah.
That really helps burnout as well.
I think so too, man. Like, it's just all about being aware of your current state.
Yeah.
You know what, man? I think self-awareness is the game.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I think if there's one thing that we need to do throughout our entire lifetime, is just figure out who the hell we are as individuals. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, if you talk to any entrepreneur, when they first started their business idea, it wasn't what it is right now. It was something else, and they just kind of became aware of how, to the point where they are now. Like for Buzzbox, we were business gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how do you do that transition? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Cool. Yeah, I think it's definitely having a greater life purpose. Anything you read, it's all like a strategy. What do you call it? It's like everything you read and every different person you speak to that's very, very successful, always underneath them has a strong life purpose. Like, you know, Elon Musk, for example, he's creating a frigging space company. He's creating cars. He's creating, you know, frigging solar roof panels. And people are going, how is he creating so many different things? For him, it's not, I want to get into this. I've got this great idea. Let me do this. He's got a high life purpose to change the world, genuinely move the world forward. You know, Earth might not be livable in 500 years or whatever it may be. He's looking at Mars. You know, he's looking at how, you know, he can save petrol because oil is such
You know what I find so interesting? I find it so interesting that right now at this moment, us three are talking about and thinking about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And I always ask myself the question, like, why is it that we do that?
Yeah.
Why do we spend time speaking about and thinking about these great people? Have you thought about that? Like, here we are, creating our first episode of this podcast, and we're talking about someone who probably has no idea that we exist. Actually, he doesn't.
Yeah, he
doesn't know we exist.
No.
But why is it that we're so drawn to these people? You know what I think it is? This is my personal take on like what I think it is. I think it's because Elon knows what he wants to do. Like he's figured out what he wants to do with his life, and he attracts people that have that similar sort of inclination. Yeah. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you've got this vision for like a business, and you might not know the full scope of that vision, but you kind of got a piece of it. Like the fact that you know that and you know that you want to go down that path is going to attract people that are
you're naturally the natural course. The universe will attract you to those people.
Absolutely. But like the people that are attracted to you, what is it that they really want? Yeah. They want to become like more aware of themselves. Yeah. Figure out what they want to do.
Because I always look at successful people like Elon Musk, Tony Robbins, Steve Jobs, and you know they've achieved phenomenal things. They're probably the 1 or 2% of entrepreneurs that are ridiculous, right?
Yeah, crazy.
But then you look at that and go, okay, if I could just be 2% or 0.5% as good as what they are, that would elevate me to a new level. And then you go, okay, what is that 1% that they've got? And then, you know, for me, it's like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, you know, wants to make a dent in the world. They want to make a difference in the world. And if I can make a small product or a service, or if I can have a small idea that you know you use every day, or Boris uses every second day, that's on a higher level. That's still changing the world, and that's what drives me.
You know what I love about these like sorts of conversations? You just go off on like a complete tangent.
Yeah.
We just like completely lost track of what the question
is. We're supposed to be talking about burning out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So next,
but it's good. It's good because. You know,
this here is the real shit.
Yeah, and I mean, we have these conversations all the time. You know, we're sitting there for hours and hours.
I mean,
but the good thing is as well is having these conversations with people that are very like-minded. You're learning more and more and more about what their experiences are and how it aligns with you as well. That's another thing that I've learned. So I always try to talk to people that are on the very, very same level mindset. Yeah, it makes a big difference to yourself.
Completely. Talking about mindset, like my next question is, who are some of the people, you know, we talked about Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, who would be your top 3 people that you aspire to be, or who you look up to rather, and why? Like, what qualities do you think are the most important that they have, and you look up to those qualities?
There's so many people that I
Yeah.
look up to.
So you want to take this one first, or?
There's so many people. For me, it's people. There's so many people. For me, it's people that have started something that's come out of here and they've shared it with the world. So I don't think it's one individual person that I look up to. I think it's people that have genuinely changed the world. But not only just changed the world, have gone through shit to get there as well.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Atlassian story, the guys at Atlassian story, vaguely remember this. You know, when they were first starting out, he got married and he went on his honeymoon. And he went to South Africa or somewhere, some really remote place. They were just starting the new business. And he had to get a letter flown to him, delivered through someone bicycling down or something like that, ridiculously, to his honeymoon to say, hey, something's fucked up at work, you need to come back. So he cut his honeymoon short. He got this message over like 2 weeks as well. He cut his honeymoon short without, I think it was like, don't quote me on this, but about 30 or 40 hours of no sleep, went back to the offices, spent 4 days just fixing the issue.
That's crazy.
And that's what gets, you know, those moments are what's gotten them to a $10 billion company or whatever the ridiculous amount of, you know, and that's the type of people I envy and that's the type of people I inspire. It's not just one specific person, I think, for me.
So it's the quality.
It's a quality, it's that next level person.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're
it's not an everyday person. It's like
kind of attracted to like certain values and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the people that have gone through so much shit that they've got there because of that. For me, that's what
for me, I've got like two people in my mind, and it might sound pretty cheesy, but my biggest inspiration is my dad.
Yeah.
And like, he's not some crazy entrepreneur or businessman.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
But like, here's the thing. Like, we came to Australia on a boat when I was like 5, off the back of like the Yugoslavian war or whatever. Back then, he was like managing director or something of the third biggest water plant, and he lost everything. So he had like 15 properties over there, lost everything, came here as an immigrant, no English, not knowing anything, and now he's got a firm like with 8 people.
Oh wow!
Like he's a hustler.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember very specifically when we came to Australia, we had 2 briefcases worth of clothing, and I remember eating off like wooden, like cardboard as plates, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what this to me. It's like that perseverance to do something and be something that you want to be. Like even through the greatest odds, like no English, no experience, no contacts, no experience, no nothing. Yeah. And he came here and he started this. It's not the biggest business. Yeah. But he started something and like he's supporting his family. Yeah. That to me is like what it's all about. Yeah, definitely. Like and the second guy that I can think of is a fella called
On behalf of that staff and retailers, we welcome you to Westfield.
We like to keep it real.
This podcast is being sponsored by Westfields.
And also tourism in Australia, as you can tell.
Yeah. And the second guy is a fella called Marcus Aurelius. And like the cool thing about this guy is that he was a Roman emperor. Yeah. And he ruled over Rome during one of its most prosperous periods. So he was in the perfect position to like let ego wash over him and just like completely go crazy and be a stupid idiot. But he spent a lot of time figuring out like who he was, you know, and what was really important. And if you read his book, like Marcus Aurelius Meditations, you'll realize that a lot of the stuff that he struggled with, like we struggle with. Yeah. You know, like a lot of the stuff that he's writing down, like that's plaguing his mind, is plaguing us.
At the end of the day, we're all humans, right? We go through the same problems. It doesn't matter if it's worth 20 million or you're making 70k.
There's no fucking difference. Yeah. There's no difference between you and Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Yeah. Like, they've done great things, but it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
Exactly.
But to me, the fact that this guy who had no reason to figure himself out because he was kind of set from the beginning, decided to. Yeah, that to me is like cool. Yeah, you know.
I think it's a double-edged sword. Like, on one hand, everyone envies these people. You know, Zuckerberg dropped out of uni to become, you know, one of the most prominent leaders in the world. And someone said to me the other day, yeah, but he dropped out of freaking Harvard. Yeah. But there's a difference. Yeah, but again, it doesn't matter. Like, to me, it doesn't matter if he was a Harvard educated. Like, there's people, like, you know, selling products like High Smile, it's teeth whitening. The kid's 20 and 22, and they've made millions, right? But they didn't have a Harvard education, but they're still high school dropouts. You know, they might be high school dropouts.
I honestly think it just all comes back down to what is it that you want, and how do you begin as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Like, what's 1/10 of that solution that you're envisioning?
But you're not going to know what you want unless you go out and try and fail.
You have to start with something.
Exactly.
Like, the first time I asked myself, what is it that I want? It wasn't to create something that's worth creating with people that I worth being with.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it was a case of like, man, I want to go make $1 million.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But like through that process, I wasn't making any money like during those first 3 years. But what I found out was that I really enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
Like getting my butt kicked, figuring out how to build a product, figuring out how to advertise, figuring out how to sell.
Yeah.
Like pick up a phone and call someone.
The cool thing I always love is, you know, when I first started out, people were like to me, oh, but you've got no advertising experience. How are you building an advertising business?
Yeah.
Oh, you've got no computing. How are you running or finance? How are you running my previous startup? How are you running a fintech? But people don't realize when you're passionate about something, you can learn so much and immerse yourself into that thing.
Yeah.
Like you and I are salespeople. You're technical. We have no advertising experience, but we're in the advertising space and we're doing it really well.
That's just how it goes, man.
You know? Exactly. And it's like, it's really building the skills that you're immersed and you love to build and inspired about, right?
You know what?
It's funny. It's funny.
It's a bit funny.
Yeah.
But a bit off topic from your question. What I find really funny about the space is like companies spend millions and millions of dollars just trying to move the status quo.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you think about the major banks, each one has like a 97% customer satisfaction rating.
Yeah.
But if I were to ask you, like, hey man, like bank B is offering you like way lower mortgage fees and way lower fees, you'd like switch over like that.
Yeah.
Because they're spending so much time and money and energy focusing in on like just moving the needle.
Yeah.
It's moving the needle.
Yeah.
But if they were to spend a portion of that money like figuring out where the attention actually
what really
is
matters
and creating experiences that actually fucking matter,
Yeah.
that'll be the difference.
Yeah.
But no one's everyone's just kind of like doing the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
100%.
I guess that's when disruption happens. When someone figures it out and, you know.
Yeah. But again, you don't need to be a subject matter expert. You
Yeah.
don't need to be good at it. You don't
Yeah.
need to know the industry at all. It's
Yeah.
like, if you see something that's like, oh shit, I can change this.
Yeah.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
And if you run with it and you're passionate about it, you can just keep pivoting it, but you'll learn so much in the industry.
Right. What's to close the interview off? What's one tip that you would like to give our 300 viewers that they can, you know, just walk away from, like, and just straight away after the video they can apply?
This is something I'm like super passionate about.
Okay.
Like this sort of question.
Right.
Whatever you're planning on doing, it doesn't matter if it's a startup or if you want to like pick up a hobby or if you want to like start going to the gym or whatever. Just figure out 1/10 of that. Like, don't wait until the time is perfect. Just go and do shit, man. Like seriously.
Yeah, take it.
Every week you spend planning is a week that you spend not doing stuff. Just go and do stuff, and the plan will fall into place itself. You don't need this like comprehensive full blown plan.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the gym, go there and walk for 30 minutes. You don't have to lift anything, but you'll see what people are doing.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, that guy's doing that. Like, maybe I should go and talk to him and figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
That workout. Or if you've got like a business idea and you want to sell like a product online, go figure out what categories of that product. Like, say for example, you're selling some sort of soap, right? Go and try sell someone else's soap.
Yeah.
Go and sell someone else's soap.
Yeah.
Because what you'll learn is like,
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about your eBay business.
seriously.
Selling candles, making money.
What you'll learn is that, oh, wait a minute, man. There's all these pricing inefficiencies across all these different e-commerce platforms. Maybe I should be thinking about that for my business. I don't have to sell everything at like the set price across the board. You really don't.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. There's all these like Reddit communities. Maybe I should be posting my ads there. Just go and sell someone else's thing. That's like 1/10 of the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's,
you know what
that
I find
is like so cool. You
Yeah.
just go in and do it, you know.
So like heaps of people ask me, you know, how did you get started with business? How do you start a business? And I'm like, you need to take action. Like, do something about it. Learn something about it. You know, we've got websites like Shopify. It takes you 4 hours to learn how Shopify works. It takes you another 4 hours to build the website, and you're up and running. Kind of thing, you know. And the way I started was an eBay business. I was selling freaking iPhone cases because I saw people were making $2 or $3 an iPhone case.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I want to try to do that. And I think that leads to my tip is two things that I love that I realize again. I'm always learning every day. Is be fucking curious.
Yeah.
Always be curious and be obsessed.
Yeah.
Curiosity generates action.
Sure.
My opinion.
Without a doubt.
You know, if you're, like you said, you know, you're walking on the treadmill and you're like, oh, what's that guy doing? Oh, he's doing a new, different exercise to build his biceps. Maybe I should do that as well.
Yeah.
That's what generates that action. I think
that's
always
what it's all
always
about.
me. You know,
And
there's only so much shit talking you can do. There's only so much. Oh, I've got this great idea. I've got this great idea. I've got this great idea. Then it's okay. Go research it. You go Google.
Yeah.
You can literally search how to start an idea. How to start a business from an idea. There's about 50 different articles that teach you
you've
how
got
to
like
start.
entire websites dedicated to what resources you need.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that's the biggest question. You need to be curious.
You know,
And that brings self-awareness. If you're curious, it brings
so.
self-awareness.
I
It
think
brings
so too.
action. It brings other stuff in to what you're trying to achieve.
I was going to mention a point, but I completely forgot about it. Oh, here's my point.
Drink more coffee.
Thrive Mountain Coffee.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
No,
Like,
don't promote it yet. Until we get about 1,000 people, then we can charge them for it.
Yeah,
Like, see how we work? It's all entrepreneurs. How we
So-
can make money from anything.
Here's the thing. This podcast right here that we're doing, this is us just doing something.
Yeah.
Like that. We haven't extensively thought about the structure. We haven't extensively thought about how we're going to do this session. We just kind of jumped in and we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? On episode number 10, episode 20, episode 100, you'll come back to this and you'll think and you'll see and you'll be like, holy shit, this is what I was.
Yeah. Another thing is
It's like documenting the process.
I mean, we've been talking about doing videos and stuff like that for ages, right? Because every time we sit down, we always have great conversations. And you know, if someone new like John, you know, John's got corporate experience. He has no startup experience. But when he sat down with you and me, he literally wrote in his notebook like 10 things that he learned just for our conversation. Come on. So I think that's the purpose of making videos like this. It's very conversational. We're not trying to sell you anything. Sorry. We're not trying to sell you anything. It's more to have a conversation and try to share our experiences in our journey to try to give a little bit back to you guys and see if there's any value of our shit talking.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah,
It's just about being real, you know?
Yeah, it's 100%. And you know, we were talking about this the other day. You know, it's awesome listening to successful people make these talks. It's great listening to their past experiences. It's great listening to their history. But something that I realize is talk to people that are in the process now, that really are immersed in the process. You're going through a capital raise. I'm going through my second capital raise. We bounce ideas off each other. We're learning off each other. So you always find people that are in that.
Yeah, but that's the way I see it, man. Like, well, once again, we're probably going on a bit of a rant compared to like where the question was at, right?
But the thing is, successful people always talk about their failures. They always talk about what went wrong, their history, but they don't go into the granular details of what happened on a day-to-day basis. But talking to people that are in the process, go, dude, I felt the same experience as you. I didn't know where to start with my business. I didn't know what the fuck to do. You know? But
Like,
you learn from that.
the way I see it, you've got like three types of people out there. You've got critics, you've got talkers, and you've got doers.
Yeah.
Those are the three key people.
Yeah.
And the way I see it from like an entrepreneur or person who's kind of just starting out and doing those first few steps, like when you pick up a book like Think and Grow Rich and stuff like that, those people are in the talker category. They've done stuff, but from your perspective, they're like in the talker category.
Yeah.
They're not doing what you're doing right now. Like, even if it's ever so slight, the environment's kind of changed.
Yeah.
Which is why you kind of got to be with people who are in the process.
Yeah.
Because you learn like little things. You know, you pick up on these like little things.
Yeah.
I find that pretty cool.
Well, you know, I had a friend saying to me, you know, I've got this idea, I really want to start a business. You know, what do I do? Who do I speak to? I said, look, I'm always here for you. I can always give you advice, but the best thing to do, look up entrepreneurial networking events. because every time we've gone to a networking event, the people that are there are the ones that want to be successful, and they're in the same stages of the business we're at, and they can, we're always bouncing ideas, we're always venting, and we're understanding that burnout. Like, speaking to you, I actually felt burnt out this week.
Yeah.
But after I had a 20-minute conversation with you, I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
It's so much
It's
better.
normal because Boris is going through the same shit.
But like,
so it was a good feeling in that sense.
but I think back to the point, do shit.
Yeah.
Just go and do shit.
Yeah.
Take
Seriously, just don't wait, do shit, and go and fail. Like, fail plenty. You've got nothing to lose. If you're in your 20s, like, you can lose all your money and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
It was. I was actually sharing this quote with. My girlfriend. Tom Edison, and he came up with the light bulb. He looked at failure as he tried 10,000 times and it failed. He didn't look at it that way. I love this. He looked at it as I figured out 10,000 ways of how it won't work, and then he figured out on the 10,001 the way that it would work.
Yeah.
Same thing with WD-40. Most people don't know this, but the reason why it's called WD-40 is because he tried 39 times to get the formula right and failed. And the 40th time, he got the perfect way to ungrease it.
I wonder if WD-41 would have been as marketable.
Yeah. I've got one over here, right? I've got earlier. Yeah. So I think failure teaches you a lot, and again, it's mindset. It's a state of mind.
Yeah.
Either you look at a failure as a bad thing, or you go, I tried 39 times. How else can I try another way to get to where I want to be? Kind of thing.
I think it's cool, man.
Awesome. Closing thoughts, guys.
I think we've ranted enough, haven't we?
Yep. One thing that you recommend our viewers to just go out and do after they watch the video.
I'll end it on a quote that
Okay, sure.
I live by Henry Ford. It's whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, and that comes down to the mindset.
Yeah.
Like that resonates with me so well. Like whether you think you can do something or you think you can't, you're right either way, and that's the mindset.
Yeah. To me, I think I can't remember his name, but he's like some like Navy SEAL guy or something.
Is it Jocko?
I can't remember. I really can't remember.
Yeah.
But seriously, shut off all electronics. Get an Airbnb place for 72 hours. Shut the fuck up. Figure out what it is that you want, and then go and start making progress towards that. If that's being fit, then go and start making progress towards being fit. If that means being like an entrepreneur and being your own boss, then figure out how to sell something online. If you haven't sold anything, then go and figure out how to take that step. Like, my whole thing is, don't make excuses because no one gives a shit. Figure out who you are, because that's probably the most important thing you'll do in your entire lifetime. And then start taking steps. Because if you're not taking any steps towards it, then you'll just be stuck at this like perpetual self-loathing, where you feel shit. Like you always feel shit because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Those are the three things. There's nothing else to it.
Yeah. If you hate your job, get a new job. Like make the decision consciously, get a new job.
Yeah.
In corporate or whatever it is, right?
Just take the steps. Start taking steps.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome. I guess that concludes our first ever podcast. You guys have been awesome. I think we definitely
wanted to give a shout out to the Wrappli guys for having me here for the first one. I'm sure it'll blow up. So the fact that I'm here for the first one means that I can always point back and say, that was me, see, that was me. I was there.
I want to give a shout out to Boris.
These guys are doing awesome stuff.
for
These guys are doing awesome
promoting Thrive and also doing an amazing job on BuzzBot. Hey, we better make some money from Thrive.
stuff. Amen.
Thrive, guys. We're right here, and if you like our podcast, please let's talk. See ya.